So Otis, before you were a Grammy-nominated drummer and a musician who so many talented musicians wanted to play with, there had to be a little Otis Brown. Take me back to northern New Jersey. What were your interests? What were your passions as a kid?
Music was always there, but of course, sports as well. My father was a huge sports fan, actually Mets fan growing up. So I kind of grew up liking both teams, So it was primarily music and sports in my household. A lot of music because that's what my parents did, and sports because that's what we love. I mean, my dad's one of those guys that listens to the game in the car, and we watch it in the house, listen in the car. So baseball was always a big part too.
Did you have to make a decision at some point between sports and music? Were both of those mutual interests kind of taking up a lot of your time, and then music won over?
That's pretty much exactly how it was. There were two tracks, and I know initially, I played Little League and tried football for a while, didn't really like it, but music was always there. And then when it got time to kind of pick one seriously, music kind of won over. It was easier to work on, not easier to work on because it's still hard, but just I kind of gravitated towards the music part more.
I have to imagine that the people who knew you growing up aren't shocked that you're doing what you're doing because of what you said. Both your mother and father, heavy musical influences. Right. Your godfather, Bernard Purdie, right, who was also a legendary drummer.
Right.
How much did they influence who you became today?
It was, I mean, they were a big influence in terms of, music being around the house and what they did, and seeing my father be a band director. They both ended up principals of high schools, but my mom was like the choral music instructor at the time, and there was always music in the house and where we went to church and played music from church. But they were more influential in like whatever you want to do. It was kind of, music was what we did, but they made sure that the message came across that like whatever you want to do, you're going to do it well. Like we're going to make sure you have the tools and give you the support you need to do it well. Just so happened I kind of stuck with music. They never really forced it on me, but they were like, okay, you're going to do it. We take this seriously in our family, so get in there and practice and, take care of what you have to take care of. So I think they were a bigger influence in the way of, whatever you do, kind of take it seriously and try and be the best at it that you can.
I'm glad you said they took it seriously, because I watched one interview with you where you said you were about 12 years old, mm-hmm, and your father let loose the reins and said, I'm going to let you play the drums at church by yourself today. And I could see you in your mind, you're 12 years old again and you're nervous as you're describing this. Man, what was that like?
That's monumental. Like I remember the moment, like the first time I was so excited. It was huge, just having the confidence and the belief in me. And it was like, for me, it was probably one of those first moments like, wow, I can do it. I can do this. I would play like a song here or there when he played. He'd be like, come over and play for the offering or whatever. I'd just play like 2 minutes and go. And this time he was like, okay, I'm not going to be there. You're old enough and decent enough to play it by yourself. So it was a huge confidence boost. And, I think that was one of the first times where I was like, man, I like this. I can do this all the time, So yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, you turn this into a profession. You play with some really talented people. Joe Lovano, mm-hmm, and the Us Five Quintet. Mm-hmm. That's where you guys were nominated for a Grammy for, right, one of their albums. You've played with Esperanza Spalding, mm-hmm, Herbie Hancock. How do you get to your debut album coming out now, The Thought of You? What caused you to say, I need to go out there and make my own album?
I had been thinking about it for a while, and playing with a lot of those people, all of those artists that I work with, they're really receptive to ideas and different things, so you always bring ideas to the table in a good band anyway, so you're part of the band leading in a way. So I always thought about doing it and, never really had the time. So things kind of lined up perfectly with this one, with the people that I wanted on it. My friend Robert Glasper is another Grammy-winning piano player, and he was available. Like the people that are on the record, everything just lined up, and everybody's like, you should do it. And it finally worked out that, I was able to do it. So I'm glad it's finally coming out now.
When a drummer is the central person in putting that album together, how is that different than, say, when a band is putting an album together? Are you writing pieces so that the drums really kick in at this point? I mean, I love the saxophone and the trumpet with the drums on a lot of the songs, by the way. It's just tremendous. But how do you go about that process?
I guess it depends on the drummer. For me, I kind of I love being in the front, of course, and I like the supporting role too, which is why I play with a lot of vocalists. So the stuff that I write wasn't really, I didn't want to make a record that was a bunch of drum solos because everybody, you know, isn't into that. So I wanted to make a record with songs people wanted to listen to and would like to hear when they didn't want to hear a drum solo. So I kind of write from that vantage point. Of course, I do write things where I'm like, okay, the drums will solo over this vamp and it's going to be amazing, you know, and I hear that in my head, but not all the time. You know, I try and, for me anyway, try and make music that the average listener would want to listen to, you know, not only drummers or musicians.
When you listen to these 11 songs, I think a couple of the themes that jump out, faith and family. You dedicate a couple of songs to your wife. There's a song there that could be played in church, probably more than one that could be played in church, but I have a gospel feel. How did you decide how are you going to put these songs together?
I kind of wanted to just tell my story in a way. So a lot of the things on the record are things that, you know, I've either grown up hearing or that are played in my church sometimes, or things that remind me of my family or my wife, like you said. So I was just wanted to be able to tell my story and be honest to that and on the album and kind of tie it all in together. So that's what I tried to do on the record.
By the way, I got to mention your Twitter handle. I'm jealous of your Twitter handle because it's so cool. You're Otis Brown III, so your Twitter handle is?
OB3 is me, the number 3.
OB, the number 3 is me. That's a cool Twitter handle. I'm just Jack Curry, yes. That's boring.
No, I don't know, but you have so many more followers than I do, so of course.
They want the Yankee news.
Right.
They want the Yankee news. Because I also listened to an interview where you said jazz is the ultimate democracy. You feel as if you can be yourself a little bit, but you also have to work within the team. You have to work
within a structure, and it's, you know, it's very similar in baseball to me, and I think that's why my little boys love it so much, is because, you know, and I love that they love it, is because you have to learn the fundamentals, you have to learn, but then when it comes time to play the game, you kind of have to react and trust that you have all of that knowledge within you to, you know, at the plate, you have to know what a curve looks like coming out of the pitcher's hand or a changeup, and you know all of that. You study it, you practice it all the time, but at a certain point, you kind of have to let all of that go and just respond. And it's the same way in music, you know.
You mentioned your 2 sons and the fact that they play baseball. How about the experience that you were able to enjoy with them at Yankee Stadium through one of your high school teammates, Bo Porter, who's the manager of the Astros? Tell us about that experience.
It was amazing. The other day, Bo was in town, and we talked, and he asked if we could make it to the game, and we did, and he got us on-field passes for BP and tickets to the game, and, you know, just to step foot on the field at Yankee Stadium is special. It was really amazing. So it was, you know, a day they'll never forget. And it's not often you see, like, your kids' kind of perspective change before your eyes, and I kind of saw it that day. It was really special.
We got to give Weequahic High School in Newark a shout out. Yes, that's where you and Bo were teammates.
That's right.
And you told me this guy was all world athletically.
Yeah, he was, you know, probably definitely one of the best in the city, best in the state, probably one of the best in the region. You know, got a football scholarship to Iowa, and then played baseball there too, and baseball kind of took off for him, and you know, made it to the big leagues, and, you know, kind of went the coaching path after he finished playing, and has been doing really well. You know, everybody's super proud of him, and, you know, I feel like the story should be more known than it is, you know, but I know for our family, and at Weequahic at the time, my father was the band director and instrumental music teacher, and my mother was the vice principal. So, you know, he knows my family really well.
But I want to ask you about your dad a little bit too, because we can't forget his background and who he played with. You're telling me he played with James Brown, some of the other performers
Bobby
that he played with?
And Al Green, and yeah, there's a ton of people that he played with, you know. And I grew up, and I mean, he was still working as a musician, even though he was teaching, he was still gigging a lot, and, you know, always practicing and writing out charts, arrangements for the band, you know. So I saw that all the time, and it influenced me a lot, you know. But he's a big influence, and is super happy at what I'm doing now, you know, especially with this record coming out. But even before, you know, when I kind of decided to come to New York and try and give it a shot at the music biz, you know, he was always supportive and super excited. And, you know, I guess he saw, like, you have the chance to make it, you know, like a parent of a kid that might, you know, be drafted. It's like, you can do this if you take the right steps, get focused, and you know, he was always very supportive in that way. So
now the album again is called "The Thought of You."
Yes.
On Blue Note Records.
Yes.
For people who want to find it, where do they go?
Any iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, wherever you buy music, it'll be there. Comes out September 23rd worldwide. It's on vinyl too, you know, so it's actually on iTunes for pre-order before the release, and then it'll come out after the release date. But anywhere you get music, you can find it. So go get it.
Now, Otis, I noticed that there's a set of drums behind us.
Wow. Convenient.
I would be less than persuasive as a reporter if I didn't say, would you mind gracing JCTV with some of your playing?
Sure.
We would love to hear it.
Yeah, let me figure out what I'm going to play. Sure.
Excellent. You're going to play something off The Thought of You, or are you just going to play something that you like to riff on?
I can just play, I don't know, maybe I'll play some, I don't know, I'll just make it up, I guess.
Love it. But anything you play, I'd love to hear. That was tremendous.
Thank you,
so
Ray.
much.
Thank you.
How would you describe your style as a drummer? When other musicians talk about you, or when you tell them your style, are there words that you use to describe it?
Supportive, fiery sometimes. I don't know, there's so many adjectives I can throw in there, but solid, you know, groovy, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of different things I think of.
And you said that your father and your godfather kind of taught you advanced techniques with the drums that you didn't even realize. Other people are like, where'd you get those grooves from?
Right.
And that's just what they taught me.
I would just learn. My father had these books that I still work out of now, you know, that are kind of the standards for learning drums, and I would kind of come in at the level of somebody more advanced, just learning little exercises, and some of my friends that were actually drummers at the time would be like, how did you do it? And it was just something I heard my father doing, and would practice it on the table or whatever at the house. So you know, without knowing it, he was kind of, you know, I had a foundation there that kind of lent itself to me doing what I do now.
I saw a picture, social media, I forget if it was Twitter or Facebook. You had a picture of your family at the game with a placard or a poster for Mariano Rivera, basically saying thank you for what you gave us. Right.
Well, it was him and it was Jackie. That day, it was Jackie Robinson Day at Yankee Stadium. The last one Mo pitched. It was so crazy that day. So Jackie Robinson Day, Mo came in and closed the game, won the game. Robbie hit the winning home run. So 42, 42, 24 that Robbie was wearing for Jackie, and they won the game 4-2.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing day, so many levels. But that's another thing I love about this game. I'm a huge history buff, and this game, more so than any other sport in the U.S., follows the history from civil rights to before Jackie could get in the league to, you know, labor disputes and everything. So I love that I can teach my boys history and my kids history, and the sport that they love follows the path of that, and give them examples in it and how important it is to take it seriously, and how, you know, at a certain time they might not have been allowed to play it, or might not have had dreams of meeting a Bo Porter or going on the field at Yankee Stadium, you know. So that's one of the things I love. It's truly America's pastime, and, you know, I really love that about baseball.
Have you had the opportunity to take them to Cooperstown and show them some of that history?
I have not. You know, my son was supposed to play a tournament there, a week-long tournament this summer, and we ended up not going with his team. So that was going to be our Cooperstown trip, and we didn't do it, but we're going to just go up and see it, because I haven't been either, and I'm dying to go. You know, our church had a trip that we couldn't make, and I'm dying to get there, and they want to see it really bad too. So we're gonna go soon.
Yeah, that'll be worthwhile. So all this talk about baseball and kids and all this, we have to end this interview as we always do. We got to open some cards.
Here we go.
So I actually brought 4 packs because I
Okay.
know you're a big fan. We're going to start with the 2014 just regular cards. I've got these are 2014, but designed as if they were from 1965.
Like those look like the cards I had when I was growing up.
All right, we're going to save those.
Okay.
But here's the way this works, Otis. Whoever has the best card gets to keep both packs.
Oh.
So we might have a little debate.
Okay.
We might have to have a debate on who actually has
see
the
what's
best card.
what. Got to say Mike Trout on the front, one of our favorite players.
I'm off to a
Jersey
good start.
native.
Yadier Molina.
Oh man!
Right out of the box, I'm coming strong.
I don't know.
Here.
I'm coming strong too with the Aegon.
That's good too.
That's a good card.
That's a good card. I'm still going to give it to Yachty right now.
Okay, I'll give that to Yachty.
Let's see.
That's one of the greatest catchers we're going to see of our time.
Now this is going to be a debate. Look at this. I got Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh.
I don't have anything. I mean, the next one closest to that I have is maybe a future Hall of Famer if he, once he gets his injuries together. Manny Machado.
Very good player.
Very good player. And the next card I had was Justin Upton, who's having
another very
great
solid
season.
player.
Yeah.
But I think Ripken is the best.
You got Ripken and Yachty. My pack is done.
All right, give them to me. You lose.
Man.
I get that. Now
Wait,
here we
who
go
else was
to.
in there? Okay.
We go to round 2. Here
Okay,
you go.
let's
see if you can win this.
Come
pack.
on, Tops.
I like these cards.
I
because
like them
you
too.
said,
This is literally it's taking me back to when I was I had shoe boxes full of these things that I wish I still had.
Starting off a little. Oh wait, again. You're gonna think I stacked the
Come
deck.
on, not Ripken again.
I got Nolan Ryan
In a Mets
uniform. But how about this? I have some sort of thing called Then and Now with Sandy Koufax and Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, here.
You don't even want to finish?
Let me see. I got R.A. I got Yoenis Cespedes. Garza's in here. Castro, who we got to meet the other day, who caught a great game the other day. Yeah, here. Let me see. No.
You know what? You've been so gracious. Hung out with us. You have 2 boys. Here you go. There's a Clayton Kershaw, Koufax for one. There's a Nolan Ryan for the other.
And they're gonna,
Otis, best of luck with the album.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it.